that are taking place. Some Palestinians are being charged up to $2,000.
I'm not going to South Africa for the G20 because I think their policies on the extermination of people are unacceptable. So I'm not going. So I won't refer to anything having to do with South Africa. South Africa has behaved extremely badly. But
to pursue the agenda of white supremacy.
You think Trump is pursuing a white supremacist agenda?
Yes, I think so.
Sunrise over D.C., coffee in my hand. Saw the headlines from a faraway land. South Africa's politicos
running their mouth again about America and me. Where does it all end? Near about a whole year of the same old tune.
Name calling in tall tales beneath the African moon. Oh, it's more trash in the USA. I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare. Pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
Gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin? They talk about freedom and justice for all, while their own people are answering a different call.
Farmers on their homesteads,
living in fear and dread.
Minority voices silence words left unsaid.
Promises like tumbleweeds blowing in the breeze, while their leaders keep on preaching, bringing us to our knees. Oh, it's more trash in the USA.
I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare. Pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
Gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin?
I tried to stay quiet,
let it roll right on by,
but a man can only take so much beneath God's sky. That's the honest truth.
When you see folks suffering, it just ain't right.
Gonna set the record straight. In the USA, I declare, while their own folks are struggling beyond all compare. Pointing fingers outward, ignoring what's inside. For Afrikaners and minorities, nowhere left to hide. Well, this cowboy's had enough,
patience wearing thin.
Gonna tell the world the truth.
Where do I begin?
Yeah, more trash in the USA,
but the truth will find its way.
Pretoria, listen up to what I gotta say. God bless America, come what may.
Come what may.
Yeah, man! Serious times down in Johannesburg. Watch the fire now. Listen! The horns! Oh, 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 yeah, yeah.
The stage was set, the lights were low for the big G20 show. Leaders coming from across the sea to talk about the world economy. Johannesburg was dressed to impress, ready to clean up the global mess. But before the first gavel could sound, a different kind of noise started going around. Now everybody talking about Cyril's big blunder. He lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. The Kineon see politicians step up to the mic, spewing out words that nobody like. They open their mouths and the fire jump out, insulting America, scream and shout. They're telling tall tales, they're telling the lies, right there under the African skies. And the media catch it, they run with the ball, they amplify the noise until the whole thing follow. Talking about Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah. Watch the house of cards, they're tumbling on. Yeah, blow it down, what a mess. I look at the president sitting up high, I see that little twinkle in his eye. He cracking that smile, that devious grin, while the diplomatic ice is getting very thin. You think the eagle gonna take that heat? Nah, sir, they won't take a seat. No Uncle Sam at your Josie party. You chase them away, you're acting too hearty. It's Cyril's big blunder, he lighting the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down a bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah, yeah, they staying away America now come to Johannesburg today. You set the house on fire, man, what kind of plan? Cyril, wipe that smile off your face. It's a disgrace. No, sir. No, sir.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
No, sir. Wipe that smile off your face. Cyril's big blunder. Welcome back, folks, on January 18th, 2026, live from our studios here in central Pennsylvania. This is Chris with a sound check. Sounds pretty good to me. All right, looks like it's working out pretty well, folks. Don't have time to say hello to everybody in the chat, so let me just greet all of you en masse. There's a lot of people chatting right now. Thank you for that chat rate up to 21 while you patiently waited. Thank you for those who patiently waited for the program to start. I was busy with the RefG interview, and that ran over as they typically tend to do. Also, the alert box is turned off. Let me turn that back on because someone just gave a super chat. We don't want to miss out on those things. People get credit for that. Come on, where's it at here? I have a hard time finding this. These things just don't stand out. No, I went right past it. Where's it at? Come on, where's the alert box at? Should be like right there. It's not. What's going on here? I cannot find it. I turned it off last time. I didn't delete it. How is it not there? That's odd. Now I'm going to be concerned about this. I can't find it. Huh. It's not there. Is it gone? What the heck? I didn't delete that in the last stream, did I? Excuse me. That's odd. It's not there. Huh. It shouldn't have deleted. It should have just been there. I mean, it would have asked me to confirm it. Okay, I'm missing something here. Sorry, folks. This is really disturbing me, so I want people to get credit for their super chats when it comes on screen. And it's not showing up here. Where is the alert box at? There it is. Good Lord. I went past it 6 times. There you go. So a couple of super chats here. Jean-Bobby Jean says, personally, I think that Donald Slamola must stop speaking on behalf of South. 70 Rand, thank you for that. And Mad Max has got some alert for us here. Let's see what that is. Let's go to that very quickly. Mad Max 35 Rand. Apparently the Rupert family. Oh, their farm's on fire. Is that true? Wow. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Oh, it says someone, do they think they did it on purpose? Let's check this out. Is this the Rupert farm? Wow. I mean, I guess he sleeps with his windows open at night. That's hectic. Look at that. Oh, that helicopter's not going to put that fire out. There's no way that that fire is getting put out by that helicopter. That looks fake. There's a fire funnel there. Is that real? I mean, that looks fake. Maybe it's just the poor quality of the grainy footage. I don't know. But that looks fake. Wow. Is that insane or what? That's the same one. Okay, twice here. Thought you sent a separate super chat. Yeah, that's crazy if that's true. There's a second one. Let's see what Mad Max did in the second one here. Navy Chief has landed in hot water. Yeah, I've got that covered in the stream, Mad Max. Thank you for that. Okay, that's crazy, man. That's some pretty hectic stuff there. Oh, I know fire funnels are real. I know they're real. I'm saying that it looked like it was like lava, and there's no lava coming out of the mountain there. So it must be grainy footage. Yeah. Yeah, fire tornado. Yeah, that's crazy. Greenland would not become a state. It would become a territory or a protectorate if it became part of the United States. It would not be a state. It doesn't have sufficient population to warrant a state, so it would not happen. It is his farm being burned. Yep, and I bet you it's arson. You want to bet? Bet it's arson. I wouldn't be surprised. I have no idea, but we're just guessing there. All right, folks. Wow, that's crazy. That's pretty hectic. Lots to get to today. We've got a refugee interview coming up after this. You'll be directed to it automatically. This is with a colored family. First one to appear on camera. We've had a colored family be interviewed before, but they were concerned about their welfare. These folks want to share. They're tired of the lies in South Africa, so they're coming on the program, and we're going to have them on in the next hour. So, yeah. Yep. So, yeah. After that, it'll be the Cafe Clutch. And I'm headed off to Rochester tomorrow. Programming announcement. Our meet and greet is still insurance claim loading. Yeah, that's going to be a massive insurance claim. But he sleeps with his windows open. Exactly. Well, I hope he doesn't sleep with his windows open tonight because he'll suffocate with that smoke. Yeah, poor Johan, yeah. And a Black Hawk helicopter to put out fires. Yeah, that's not going to be enough, Henry. Not with that fire funnel. I mean, that's out of control. That blaze is out of control. The best they can do is try to build a fire break and prevent it from going any further. But putting it out, good luck with that. The problem is that the wind will make those things leap, and you got that funnel that'll carry the embers elsewhere. That's bad mojo. Wherever that fire is, that's very bad mojo. That's some bad stuff, folks. You don't want to mess with that. President Donald Trump has given a warning order to troops in Alaska to prepare to deploy to Minneapolis. Ooh, it's getting spicy in Minnesota, folks, where the insurrection continues now in its second, third week. Yeah, I don't know about a Black Hawk. I know you had a Huey, yes. So I was surprised here it was a Black Hawk. Pentagon readies 1,500 troops potential deployment to Minnesota. The Pentagon has ordered 1,500 active duty soldiers in Alaska to prepare for possible deployment in Minnesota, site of large protests. The Army has placed units to prepare deploy orders in case violence escalates. Well, it's pretty bad now. The troops are deployed. It's unclear what they will do with them or whether he will invoke the Insurrection Act, but he can send troops there without invoking the Insurrection Act to protect federal property. That can do that anytime he wants. Yep. So these soldiers would be sent in cold weather conditions, are assigned to the Army's infantry battalions in 11th Airborne Division, which is based in Alaska. That's a new unit. There was no 11th Airborne Division when I was in the Army. They've redesignated the 6th ID to be the 11th Airborne Division. Yep. So it's getting spicy. Trump is about to send troops to Minneapolis, or at least he's trying to send a message. No decisions made yet on whether to deploy the troops from Alaska. Part of the 11th Airborne Division at Fort Wainwright, which used to be the 6th Infantry Division. Light. Now it's airborne. On Friday, a Judge Menendez ruled that federal agents cannot arrest or use pepper spray on peaceful demonstrators, which is not a legal order from this judge. She should be impeached. She's interfering in the operations. They're perfectly legitimate legal. The United States has filed forfeit action against 2 anti-submarine warfare crew trainers en route from South Africa to the Chinese military, shipped there by the Flying Academy South Africa in violation of U.S. law, according to the Department of Justice. Now, the company has responded to this, but let me talk about what's going on here. The Test Flying Academy South Africa masquerades as a civilian flight training academy when in fact it is a significant enabler of the Chinese air and naval forces and a pipeline for transferring NATO aviation expertise, operational knowledge, and restricted technology directly to the People's Liberation Army. That's Assistant Attorney General for National Security John Eisenberg. The National Security Division will continue to act decisively to preserve the U.S. military's qualitative edge by preventing U.S. technology from falling into the hands of our adversaries. This seizure demonstrates the ongoing threat that China and its enablers, South Africa, pose to the national security of the United States through the unlawful procurement of U.S. military technology. Attorney for the United States District of Columbia, Janine Pirro, Judge Janine. The Department of Justice and our law enforcement partners continue in the steadfast in our commitment to use every lawful tool available to keep this critical technology out of the hands of our adversaries. The Test Flying Academy of South Africa illegally exported U.S. military flight simulator technology and recruited former NATO pilots for the purpose of training China's military, jeopardizing U.S. national security and placing the lives of American service members at risk. This from Assistant Director Roman Rozowski of the FBI's Counterintelligence and Espionage Division. It's getting spicy. Oh my, oh my, oh my. It's getting spicy in here. Boss Luis, 35 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that. Clouds are gathering. Clouds have been sparse this month, but clouds are gathering now. So in response, the Test Flying Academy of South Africa had the following to say. The statement regarding U.S. Department of Justice media release on the consignment and seizure of certain containers. Company notes U.S. Department of Justice press release regarding the consignment and seizure of certain containers. The company strenuously rejects the allegations and implications made in that release as factually inaccurate and misleading. The company rejects any suggestion that NATO expertise was transferred or any U.S. military technology, defense, technical data, or other restricted information was exported in breach of applicable laws. To avoid inaccurate information, the company is publishing an independent fact-based investigation that was conducted last year and concluded mid-2025. The attached report sets out a factual evidence-based account of the events. Now, the problem with this, their investigation, is that they did an investigation after the fact. Okay? So, how can they confirm that the material seized in Singapore was, in fact, not sensitive information forbidden from being exported to third parties, like the Chinese communists? How can an independent investigation prove that unless the U.S. government gave them access to the containers that they seized? You see my point? Now, I'm not saying the company's lying, but their story lacks credibility, or it lacks at least context. They did an investigation. I've read it. I have it printed out here, the investigation from the organization. I have written to them and offered them an opportunity to rebut what happened and to come on my program. It is a weekend. I don't expect to hear a response from them. I did that on Friday. Hopefully we'll hear from them. Rooster 100 Rand says, any reason they would make contact for my wife to go for security clearance and fingerprints, but not me? Very thorough, and I have clearance for my job. Your clearance doesn't mean jack squat. Doesn't have anything to do with anything. It all gets done over again, regardless. So I don't know why they would have contacted her unless she had submitted a second one on her own too, or they're doing a half-assed job. Good question, Rooster, but I don't know the answer on that one. That's a clever way to spell rooster. Leroux, rooster. Yep. All right, so the company is refuting what's been said by the Justice Department. But here's a problem with this, too. That's why I want to talk to the company representatives. Boss Luis, thank you for the 70 Rand. The problem is that their statement says that this was seized in 2024, November 2024, while Biden was president. November, December, January. 3 months Biden was president. So it's not a Trump plot to undermine South Africa. Also, The U.S. government has sat on the release of this information forever. They intentionally did release it to avoid embarrassing South Africa during his presidency of the G20. They could have said this at any time from January 20th when Trump became president. Or maybe you say he had to figure it out by end of February. He could have said, he could have embarrassed Cyril Ramaphosa when he came to Washington, D.C. and lied to Trump in the Oval Office after making Trump wait 42 minutes because he was late, like he's some sort of important African emperor. So Trump did embarrass the South Africa with this. This information was clearly in their possession. They knew about this Department of Justice seizure in Singapore. Also, if it's not illegal, why did the Singapore authorities allow U.S. government to seize the consignment? The U.S. would have provided a warrant to the Singapore authorities, and reciprocity would have allowed them to execute the warrant. So why is it something's very strange going on here? The hearts they found. What are you talking about, Anna Kruger? If you're asking refugee stuff, it's not going to be answered. This is a news broadcast, and it's very selfish of you to come on my news broadcast and ask refugee questions when we just had a refugee broadcast, and we have a Cafe Klotz later on, another refugee interview. So you've been warned. My motto is to start deleting those things. Just start deleting those things. The Democratic Alliance demands answers on Iran's naval exercise. Yeah, well, we all demand answers. Wonder what the hell's going on here. What is going on in Simonstown? DA's call for an urgent parliamentary debate on Iran's participation in naval exercise, which began on Friday. South Africans deserve immediate answers. Who gave the final approval? Whose instructions were followed? And why did senior SANDF leadership appear to act in defiance of presidential directive? That's what Chris Hattinger from the DA says. By the way, if any of my viewers have a way to contact Chris Hattinger from the DA, please contact me. Give me his number if it's okay with him. I would like to interview him. I would like to interview him about all these issues, but I don't have a contact for him. And right now, the DA is not so thrilled with me because I'm reporting facts about the party. In fact, were Ramaphosa's instructions on Iran's participation ignored? And Zimotcheka orders a probe. Oh, yes, another probe. By the way, look at the size of that big-ass ship there. That's what we call a big-ass ship. That thing could handle a whole bunch of mambas, Caspers, and buffaloes to ship to Iran to suppress their population, couldn't it? Look at that. Look at the size of that thing, that support ship. Is that an Iranian vessel? Or is that Chinese? The Iranians have a huge ship there. South Africa's launched a formal inquiry into allegations President Ramaphosa's instructions were disregarded. In a media statement, Zimotcheka said, "We're going to investigate it." Okay. Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in that. Not. Minister 30% is on thin ice, but who will take the fall? Probably some white 06 captain equivalent will take the fall. She clearly has no control of the military. It cannot go on like this. She's had no control of the military since she became minister. She had no control of her education. She's an oxygen thief who says the most stupid things you ever imagine. The dumbest thing you can pick out. Who lowered educational standards to such a level that South Africans are functionally illiterate when they graduate high school now, many of them. This is Minister 30%. She never should have been a minister of anything, let alone the military. This is insanity. The DRC debacle, sending troops to the DRC. She didn't send them, but she didn't recall them. She didn't get the resource for them. She didn't call for emergency parliamentary meetings as a member of parliament to find funding to get helmets and body armor to soldiers that are getting shot and slaughtered and blown apart in the Congo. She oversaw the cowardly withdrawal from Goma. She did. She clearly has no control of the military. It cannot go on like this, said a senior government source. Exactly. Military sends its general to Iran to pledge his support to the Iranian terrorist regime. She has no control over that. Unbelievable. Well, now they claim the Navy chief is in the firing line. The Board of Inquiry will examine Ramaphosa's instructions. Well, he won't be the fall guy. Vice Admiral Monde Lobeze. He's from Port Elizabeth. South African Navy Chief Monde Lobeze is expected to face repercussions at Union buildings over Iran's participation. He said to have written a letter to the Department of National Relations in cooperation on Friday confirming Iran's participation. This followed a query from Durko seeking clarity on Iran's status in the exercise, having been led to believe the Gulf state had been relegated to observer status. Well, so much for what Ron and Mull knows. Yes, Chris, but you were in the Army, a century ago when they didn't have body armor. They have body armor now. It's a standard. UN troops get it. So if UN troops can get it from Bangladesh, we can certainly provide it to South Africans. One of them had to go. Steenhuisen and Deon George. Maybe both of them had to go. The Admiral will fall. Remember, he dissed the ANC. No repercussions. Good point there. If he dissed the ANC, who will go? The feud between DA leader John Steenhuisen and former Minister Dion George deepened internal divisions ahead of the party's April elective conference. George resigned from the DA after accusing Steenhuisen of interference, political capture, and silencing dissent. Insider close to the party's leadership said the conflict intensified. It became clear that the standoff was untenable. One of them had to go. We are set to win 60 municipalities. And thus, this nonsense between two drama queens is hurting us, the source said. People on the ground are furious. One of them had to go, and everyone knows which side leadership is on. John's. Well, you can ride that flaming, sinking Viking burial ship right into the ocean. Which side? John Steenhuisen will destroy the Democratic Alliance. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah. There's a Congress coming, but it seems everyone is too scared to contest John. Others feel he's allowed to get away with things that would end anyone else's careers. Yeah, like not paying his credit card bill and then saying it's nobody's business. He had the audacity to say, what business is anybody that I can't pay my credit card bills? It's everybody's business. It's nobody's business how much money you have or what resource you have as long as you disclose it privately to the government and they can oversee it. Thank you, Monster Max, for upgrading to Master and Commander. I really appreciate that. It's nobody's business for that, but it is everybody's business that you can't manage your credit card bill as a leader of a political party that claims to be fiscally astute. Fiscally astute. Give me a break. Give me a break. Well, this is really going to chafe your shorts. Less than $100, about $60 bail for the man who stole people's homes for 5 years. Yep. 1,000 Rand bail for alleged Bryanston property pirate. A man accused of hijacking a Bryanston mansion was granted 1,000 bail on Friday. Safiwa Lawrence Ramalawa was allegedly took over the property while the owner was on holiday. The lawyer said his client can't be charged with trespassing because he has a right to be there. No, he doesn't. He was arrested on January 8th and made his first appearance in court the following day, when the case was postponed for a week for the state to verify his address. Wow. So 40 Rand. The once palatial home was illegally converted into multiple dwelling space with every possible nook and cranny turned into living space. The kitchen, for example, was transformed into 3 rooms for rent at between 2,500 and 3,000 Rand per month, and more than 40 Wendy houses were erected in the garden. His lawyer reiterated his previous stance. His client can't be charged with trespassing. He has a right to be there. He has no right to be there. This is what happens with the Poppy Act, and you just let people steal things. Well, declared dead, property stolen. The Bryanston house hijacking scandal deepens. A Bryanston homeowner living in Zambia discovered his home was hijacked in 2024, allegedly by that guy Ramalawa, who was accused of hijacking other properties. Ramalawa was arrested for allegedly hijacking the Grosvenor Road property and released on just 1,000 Rand, $60 a bail. The city of Johannesburg, led by multiple apartment operations, continues its crackdown. Yeah, so the Bryanston homeowner living in Zambia had the fright of his life when he learned that he was certified dead. He was declared dead in South Africa, and that his 12 million Rand home in plush Sandton suburb had been inherited by a man he did not know. The homeowner, whose name is known to News 24, allegedly has a civil case against the property hijacker. The Bryanston property was hijacked in 2024. Wow. They have approached the courts, but the courts are doing nothing about it. Both palatial homes that were hijacked, illegally converted multi-dwelling spaces with every possible nook turned into rental places. Wow, that's insane. That's absolutely insane, folks. Thank you, Barbara, for becoming a subscriber. Ekurhuleni MMC was washed away in the Mozambique floods. The city of Ekurhuleni has confirmed that its member for the mayoral committee for roads and transport, Andile Mgwevu, is missing after the vehicle he was traveling in was swept away by floodwaters in southern Mozambique. As part of an official delegation visiting Mozambique when severe flooding struck the area, according to the municipality, the vehicle carrying him was caught in fast-moving water and washed away. Search and rescue efforts are ongoing. Mozambique authorities, emergency teams working to locate him and any others that may have been affected. He's probably gone, unfortunately. Severe weather in Limpopo, classified as a national disaster. Weeks after the rain fell, now the government of South Africa finally declares a national disaster. The recent extreme weather in South Africa, including the floods in Limpopo and Mpumalanga, have been classified as a national disaster. Recent? This has been going on for weeks. Classification was made Saturday by the head of the National Disaster Management Center, Dr. Elias Sitole. Where the hell have you been, Dr. Sitole, for the past 3 weeks when this rain was falling? Air Force's lone helicopter, single helicopter and crew, pitch in Limpopo and save 18 from the floods. South Air Force's only operational helicopter in Limpopo rescued 18 people from the Kambuku Safari Lodge in pitch darkness during severe flooding. Lieutenant Colonel Stephen King and crew continued rescue operations the next day, dramatically saving a woman from an acacia tree using helicopter hoist equipment. The Kruger National Park closed northern camps as water levels exceeded the year 2000 flood line, while the Weather Service issued red level 10 warnings. Among them who were saved were Leon and Brenda Duplessis and Brenda's 72-year-old mother, Charmaine Koenig, as well as an Irish tourist and the family's 2 Yorkshire Terriers. My parents waited for hours in the pitch darkness and hoped someone would come rescue them after the cell phone signal disappeared. Yep. I myself have been stranded in Palabora since Tuesday because I couldn't get out of the resort. That's crazy, folks. Major General Jan Skeppers, acting police provincial commissioner in Limpopo, immediately approved authorization of the Air Force to fly the community policing forum, Farm Watch, and some of the farmers collaborated to identify an area where they could land without the helicopter hitting power lines. The Augusta A-109 helicopter went to fetch them had been out of service for 2 years until shortly before the floods. No other helicopters in the entire province of Limpopo belonging to South African National Defence Force or the police are operational. One helicopter. South African National Parks Service has lifted its moratorium on day visits, even as the water continues to come downstream. Conditions are improving, but the floods are still there. Look at that. Kruger floods. It's crazy. Crazy, folks. It's barbaric and uncalled for. Officials upset with social media content posters doing stunts in the floods. Limpopo Premier Dr. Pofi Ramatuba has condemned what she described as barbaric behavior by social media users risking their lives by crossing flooded areas for trends and online attention as deadly floods continue to batter the province. Speaking at a press conference alongside Limpopo MEC for Cooperative Governance, Human Settlements and Traditional Affairs, Basikopo Makamu, and Provincial Director General Nape Nchebeleng, Ramatuba, good Lord, this is a freaking alphabet soup of names, urged residents to stop attempting to cross dangerous floodwaters. Stupid. It is stupid. People are just looking for attention. It's like the idiots who lean off of something, take a camera and fall off a cliff trying to make social media stuff. Well, that would be the Darwin Award in effect there. Angie Macheka is in trouble again for stubbing military vets conference, as if it never ends for poor Angie Macheka. If it doesn't rain, it pours for Minister of Defense and military veterans Angie Macheka, who ends this week on a bad footing with both the government and the ANC. She upset the presidency after her department seemingly ignored an order, and now she snubbed a 3-day ANC Mkhonto weSizwe Liberation Veterans inaugural conference. Why in the world is she expected to go to a terrorist organization's conference? MK was a terrorist organization, not the military. So if I were defense minister in South Africa, I wouldn't go to it. It's not barbaric, Odins. The people don't know the English language. She doesn't know. It's not barbaric. It's stupid. It's moronic. That's what she meant to say. But she doesn't have a grasp of the English language. She used the word barbaric. That's what she said. Sasol sheds billions after JP Morgan downgrade. Flags a currency risk. Yep. Stronger rand, weak demand, investor skepticism, deepened pressure on energy group. Sasol shares plunged 12% on Friday, wiping out more than $6 billion in value after JP Morgan downgraded the group from neutral to underweight, citing concerns about the energy and chemical company's performance. One of the concerns U.S. financial services firms raised about Sasol was a strengthening rand, saying this would be a gnawing headwind for its earnings, give the group substantial exposure to foreign currency revenue. The petrochemical group generates significant foreign currency revenues from its global chemical and energy operations, primarily priced in dollars. With the rand having grown 13% against the dollar the past year, Sasol's share price has weakened more than 65% in the past 3 years. Not a good investment. Not a good investment. Well, the Bulls finally snapped their ridiculously long losing streak, and the Stormers won, and the Sharks won. Shock, shock, shock. But the Sharks were eliminated because Sale Sharks failed to field a proper team and let themselves be wiped out by an also-ran team, which now moves above the Sharks. The Sharks are eliminated. The Lions are eliminated because they had a 10-point lead and squandered the last 10 minutes of the game. And instead of kicking a penalty to win the game, they kicked to the corner and then turned the ball over on a questionable penalty against them. It should have been a penalty for side entry against their opponent, but it was given against them. So the Lions are stupid. The Sharks were eliminated because of the selfish behavior of another team that didn't play a real game. The Bulls are likely to get in, and the Stormers are in. So the Cheetahs are already eliminated. So it looks like only 2 teams will go forward. Or 3. Yeah, 2 teams. But the Bulls managed to pull out a win, and they keep their Champions Cup dreams alive. A late Nizam Kar try saw the Bulls beat Po 26-24 away from home. It was incredible. It's their first in all competitions in 7 fixtures. It sees them move into 4th place in Pool 4 despite having won just 1 and losing 3 in the group stage. It means that if the Scarlets go down in Northampton on Saturday, which they did, the Bulls will have booked a spot in the 16. A long time it looked like it was unlikely. Po was leading 21-12, but the Bulls came back and won this game 26-21. Join the Blue Bulls. Well, I have press credentials at the Blue Bulls, but I'm not joining the Blue Bulls. All right, so Donald Trump strangely thanks Iran for not executing people. What kind of is that? Follow the latest news and Donald Trump. Yeah, here you go. President Trump took the unusual step Friday of thanking the Iranian government for not following through on executions. What he said was meant to be hundreds of political prisoners. Iran canceled the hanging of 800 people. He greatly appreciated the move. But don't get too excited, Iran. He may have said that then, but it's not over. Iran protests have been quelled since the deadly crackdown. It's all gone quiet now for the most part. A top Iranian general has threatened to cut off Trump's hand over potential military strikes. Senior Revolutionary Guard General Mohsen Rezai said Iran will abandon ceasefire talks if attacked. Well, I think Mr. Mohsen should keep his mouth shut because I think that the U.S. government can find him and take him out at any time. Just saying. And speaking of Iranian leadership, President Trump has called for new leadership in Iran. He made a statement his country's leader admitted thousands have been killed during mass protests. Trump has called for a regime change in Iran in the wake of protests that have engulfed the country in recent weeks. It's time to look for new leadership, he said yesterday. White House did not immediately respond to requests for further comment on his remarks. Man. So Trump is calling for a regime change in Iran. Those are the ANC's buddies. How will they take it? Meanwhile, the African National Congress, which felt the need at Iran's behest to file a grievance with the International Court of Justice against Israel for a so-called genocide that's not taking place in Gaza, has failed to join the Myanmar case filed in 2019 in a landmark court case against Myanmar by the Gambia. Although many countries have joined, 7 to be exact, including Canada, the United Kingdom, and others, the South African government has failed to join this landmark genocide case. A genocide against brown people, Muslims. And the South African government, which expresses its concern for brown people and Muslims, is silent and not present. But the Myanmar case is finally getting underway, a landmark genocide case. Myanmar has denied committing genocide against the Rohingya, saying that the Gambia has failed to provide enough proof as it begun its defense at the UN's top court. Koko Klang, a Myanmar government representative, told judges the ICJ the allegation was unsubstantiated. Earlier this week, the Gambia's foreign minister, Dadwa Jallow, told the court Myanmar wanted to erase the minority Muslim population through its use of genocidal policies. Thousands of Rohingya have died and more than 700,000 fled to neighboring Bangladesh during an army crackdown in 2017. This case was filed in 2019, yet the ANC has failed to join it. But I thought the ANC was a moral paragon of right, moral, and just. After all, they took the courageous step of filing an ICJ case against Israel for the genocide in response to the slaughter of 1,200 innocents. Is there a truth to the story that Iraq has taken over U.S. airbase? Not to my knowledge. Mark. We don't have an airbase there. Why the Gambia wants Myanmar punished for Rohingya genocide. Tiny Gambia was the first to take another country to the ICJ as a third-party rights defender, and they did. Yep. It's the first time allegations of mass violation and abuse against Rohingya are being heard at international court. Also, the first time the ICJ will decide on a genocide case brought by a third country in defense of another nation or group. Yep, that's a fact. But South Africa is not a party to this. They haven't joined it. They have not joined it. 7 countries, Canada, Denmark, the Netherlands, Germany, the Maldives, France, and Britain have applied to support the Gambia's case, but not South Africa's ANC. But I thought they were more paragons. Now check this out, folks. This is data collaborated or collated by independent intelligence analysts who put this together. It's showing the Chinese using their civilian fishing fleet as a weapon. They send a message out, and all the fishing trawlers assemble in one area of the East China Sea, and they literally block 320 kilometers of sea lanes. Ships had to go around this. Check this out. This is insane. Thousands of Chinese boats quietly form vast sea barriers. From January 9th to January 12th, this is what happened. Look at that. All the boats called back in. They stopped fishing, and they formed a solid line for 320 kilometers, and ones from port as well. That's insane. This is what the Chinese are doing, interfering with international operations and the law of the sea. Look at that. 320 kilometers in that main line. 1,400 ships blocking the routes. Commercial shipping had to steam around this. This is what the Chinese are doing. These are the friends of the ANC. The mullahs who murder thousands of innocent people who are walking through the streets of Iran, and these clowns. This is another formation did on Christmas Day in an L shape. China is mobilizing for war. It's mobilizing for war. It tends to attack Taiwan, and I'll bet you the idea is to take this formation and use it to protect their shoreline while they're out there attacking Taiwan. They're out of control. The European Union is hosting an emergency meeting in response to Trump's tariffs over Greenland. Trump promised a 10% tariff and then 25% on Greenland, on the countries that support the European Union, not the U.S. He said the United States would impose increasing tariffs on 8 European countries rejecting the U.S. purchase of Greenland starting February 1st. European Union called emergency meeting ambassadors from the bloc's 27 nations today to discuss President Trump's threats to impose a series of increasing tariffs on European allies that opposed the U.S. effort to acquire Greenland. Wow. The current chair of the rotating presidency of Cyprus announced late yesterday that it planned the meeting, which is scheduled for 5 p.m. It is now 6 p.m., so the meeting is in progress. Trump said on January 16 he was considering a wave of tariffs on European allies if they don't go along with allowing the United States to purchase the Danish territory of Greenland. Trump said the United States needs Greenland for national security purposes. And then he also elaborated about the Golden Dome. It's a very dangerous situation for the safety and security and survival of our planet, Trump wrote. The tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. The tariff will affect Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Netherlands, and Finland starting on February 1st. It will increase to 25% on June 1st if they haven't backed down. It's getting cray-cray here, folks. Getting cray-cray. Mad Max with 35 Rand Super Chat news update. French President Macron urged you to... Okay, here we go. French President Emmanuel Macron urges the EU to activate its strongest trade defense tool that never before used anti-coercion instrument in response to President Trump's renewed tariff threats. If deployed against the United States, the measure would severely restrict American companies' access to the European market. This might include blocking U.S. banks from European Union public procurement contracts, targeting major American tech giants with restrictive measures. The anti-coercion instrument was specifically designed for the EU's ultimate and economic countermeasure against external trade pressure or blackmail, and this would mark its first ever activation. Now, last year, when the so-called brilliant economists predicted that we would have a global collapse, the tariffs would cause a restriction of trade. In fact, China's exported more and had a bigger surplus than ever in its history under the tariffs. And the U.S. has grown its economy at a rate we haven't seen in decades, 4.3% annualized rate. So they were all wrong. I said they were wrong at the time. I continued my story. I said they're wrong. However, if the European Union wants to start this nonsense, it will lead to global economic crisis. This idiotic decision here by the European Union is going to cause Europe or cause the world to slide into a recession. This is stupid on their part. Absolutely stupid. These people are dumb, dumb, dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. They really are. Don't know what more to tell you about them. They're just crazy. Well, President Trump signals tariffs on nations that oppose the Greenland goal. Yep. He may put a tariff on countries that don't go along with Greenland. Yep. Meanwhile, a bipartisan group of senators, but not really bipartisan, those are Republicans that hate America like Murkowski and Susan Collins, went to Denmark to get a free ride, a couple Danish croissants, and a Danish, while attacking President Trump and betraying America. And there's Chris Coons. He's one of the worst pieces of sludge out there. Yep. 11-member delegation led by Delaware Demon Rat Senator Chris Coons met the Danish Prime Minister, who was just in D.C. No, I'm sorry, the Foreign Minister was here. Yeah, why did they have to go to Denmark? U.S. will impose a 10% tariff on 8 European countries starting on February 1st, and by June 1st it becomes 25%. This is on top of any of the existing tariffs. Canada breaks with the U.S. to slash tariff on some Chinese electric vehicles. China will cut tariffs on Canadian canola products. So let me explain what's going on here. Okay, so this is comical. These are how stupid the Canadians are. Okay, at least Carney. Yeah, maybe not Canadians. Krista, when those boats do that, they become combatants. Using a fishing boat in a military blockade, a blockade is an act of war. What they've done there is an act of war. You understand that, right? That is an act of war. Blockading East China Sea is an act of war. China has now invoked and started a war twice in the past month. December 25th and again this past week. They have started a war in the East China Sea. China is a legitimate military target for any country in the region who has interest in the East China Sea. They have started a war. That is a blockade. They have blockaded their shore. That is an act of war. The United States blockaded Cuba, or announced the blockade, to keep Russian ships from delivering nuclear weapons to Cuba back during the Cuban Missile Crisis. That's an act of war. An act of war. So Canada has agreed to lower the 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles for 49,000 vehicles to just 6.1%. Meanwhile, the Chinese have agreed to lower the tariff on Canadian canola oil from 85% to 15%. That's still 2.5 times the rate that they charge the Chinese. And also, you're going to have to sell like 300 million bottles of canola oil just to approach the price of these freaking electrical vehicles. It's stupid. Stupid people. And Canada's got some stupid leadership. And the U.S. has criticized their stupidity. U.S. says Canada will regret the decision to allow Chinese electric vehicles into the marketplace. Yes, because it'll probably result in more pain from Trump. Trump administration officials said on Friday that Canada would regret its decision to allow China to import up to 49,000 Chinese electrical vehicles and that those cars would not be allowed to enter the United States. I think they'll look back at the decision and surely regret it to bring Chinese cars into the market. Yep. Since 2024, they've had 100% tariffs on Chinese electrical vehicles, which is what the U.S. did, so they did the same thing. Yep. Stupid people in Canada. Francois Ferreira, 20 Rand super sticker. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. No, they won't bring cars across. Well, they'll be able to drive them across the border, but they can't sell them here. The Justice Department has issued subpoenas for probe the insurrectionist in chief, Governor Stolen Valor Timmy Waltz, who is a seditionist. He is inciting insurrection in Minnesota. They've issued a subpoena for him. DOJ is investigating the Minnesota governor and Minneapolis mayor who decry the probe as an intimidation tactic. No, the intimidation is coming from you, scumbag insurrectionists who are fomenting disorder and insurrection and sedition against the federal authority of the United States of America, a constitution I've served and protected for 4 decades of my life. And you asshats are insurrectionists. You are seditious. You should be in prison right now. Yeah, there you go. So you can cry about politics all you want. You're the ones that are threatening and endangering people. Well, Greenlanders and Danes are a little concerned. Bleak times in Copenhagen. Danes feel betrayed and bewildered by Trump. The American president's vow to get Greenland, the semi-autonomous Danish territory, has thrown a tiny pro-American Nordic nation into crisis. Henrik Bager, a Danish soldier who served with Americans in Iraq and Afghanistan, said President Trump's vow to get Greenland from Denmark and his insults about Denmark's military were a punch to the gut. Rasmus Jarlof, a voluble center-right member of the Danish parliament in the chamber of its defense committee, said, "We know full well that the Americans can destroy us. But should Mr. Trump, who has not ruled out military force attack a fellow NATO ally, of course we will fight back." No, you won't. No, you won't. These are bleak times in Copenhagen where Danes say they feel betrayed, bewildered, and frightened by Mr. Trump's threats to take over Greenland, the semi-autonomous Danish territory and a source of national identity and pride. Greenland, 50 times the size of Denmark, has long made the tiny Nordic nation more of a player on the world stage. Yes, because you're colonizers. You've colonized Greenland. Trump administration begins criminal inquiries into Minnesota leaders. I already covered that story, sorry. And a judge has restricted what the immigration officers can do in Minnesota. This is an overreach, judicial overreach. Federal judge in Minnesota has imposed restrictions on the actions of immigration agents towards protesters in the state on Friday, a decision that comes after weeks of mounting tensions between demonstrators and federal officers. Judge Kate Menendez ordered agents not to retaliate against people engaging in peaceful and unobstructed protests. But it's not unobstructive. We see these people getting cameras up in the faces and approaching federal officers within arm's reach of them. These are dangerous people and a menace to public safety. They need to be arrested and detained. You cannot approach federal officers during an operation in that fashion. Yep, that's the bottom line there. Well, Washington Times says that Trump is concerned about midterm losses, and we can see it. He's already endorsing a lot of candidates well in advance of primaries here in many states. But Trump, fearful of losing the midterms, has flooded the zone with economic proposals. Indeed, he has. Here are some of the things he's offered. Redirecting health care subsidies to consumers from insurers. Directing the federal government to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds to lower housing costs. Banning institutional investors from buying single-family homes to increase housing supplies, capping credit card fees at 10%, very popular, by the way, allowing Americans to take money out of their 401k tax-free to use as down payment on a home, issuing $2,000 tariff refund checks to Americans, and requiring big tech companies to pay for data centers' energy consumption, reducing utility costs. These are all ideas meant to lower the cost of living, and they'll go over quite well, but they make it sound like Trump is desperate. Perhaps he is. I don't know, but that's the bottom line. All right. Chinese EVs catching fire. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of it. I mean, if Greenland doesn't want to be fit for state, can we apply? No, they'll be a territory, not a state. My grandfather and grandmother were Danes, says Ruben. Yeah, the judge said don't use tear gas for peaceful protests. Meanwhile, a crowd dragged and pulled an ICE officer into their mosh pit. Yeah, and they're the ones throwing incendiary devices, and that's not a peaceful group. Judge's ruling enforces their right to react to obstruction and violent actions by protesters. They look at her ruling from both sides. Yeah, potentially, but there's no reason for the judge to rule. There's nothing the agents are doing that's illegitimate. Right, endless videos of Chinese. Danes are losing their crap over Greenland. Not sure why. They never gave a crap about it previously. Exactly. This time, but are ready to help support public safety, including protection of life. Okay. At Waltz's direction, the Minnesota National Guard have been mobilized in their stage to support local law enforcement emergency management agencies. Yeah, well, that's about 3 weeks overdue. Peterson still maintains that if President Trump laid off Canada until after the election, it would have gone in favor of the right. Well, he's right. He should have waited until after the election, and the leftists would have lost, and Carney wouldn't be the prime minister now. A global war? No. No one's going to have a global war over Greenland, trust me. No one's going to have a global war over Greenland. It's just not going to happen, folks. So Super Brew comments are coming in. Let me take a look at how badly I did here. I was doing well for a while yesterday and all went sideways. I got the Gloucester one correct. And the Stade Toulousain 77-7 over Sale Sharks. Toulousain had nothing in the tank. Sale Sharks folded like a cheap suit, which means the Hollywood Sharks can't get through. Yep. So Munster lost to Costas. That's a shocker. And Ulster surprised at Stade Français Paris. So today Exeter. I lost that one. I picked Cardiff, and they cleaned Cardiff's clock. I picked Bristol, and once again they let me down. Every time I pick Bristol, they let me down. If I pick Bordeaux, they pick me down. They let me down. So I picked Bristol against Bordeaux. They let me down. Lyon. I picked Benetton. I got that one right. I picked it by 12. They won by 19. Northampton over Scarlets. I picked Northampton by 14. I hit that one spot on, both points. I picked Harlequins by 7 over Stade Rochelet, and I got both points there. So not a great weekend for me. Or are those still live? Anyway, yep, so there you go. Someone gave the score earlier, so 27 was 17-7, now it's 27. Love the way you send all of 50 troops to show force. Yeah, but it's actually an advanced force. It's the recon team, the advanced party. They didn't bother telling anybody that, so I know how it works. It's an advanced party. Supposed to be more coming. Long ongoing process where withdrawal was finally complete. Iraqi army takes full over key bases. Yeah, exactly. That was what the agreement was. They're not our bases. Hello, Carlos. What's going on? Neff says there's credible evidence of chemical weapons. I haven't seen that. The Iran protests have not quelled at all. I'm watching several Iranian channels of video coming out. Well, the mainstream media, and I'm not seeing anything on social media since then, so with the shutting down of Starlink, for the most part, it's been a problem. Okay. South Africa flirting with disaster. This is from Bloomberg. When Bloomberg says this, you know something serious. Let me read this article. Okay, it's going to be over here. All right. U.S. escalated its criticism of South Africa after a naval exercise this week involving China and some of the BRICS member nations. That's true. U.S. House Chamber of Foreign Affairs accused Pretoria of undermining U.S. national security. It was actually the Senate. The day after nation's embassy land-based in South Africa allowing Iran to participate. South Africa continues to give the United States a middle finger, the committee said in a statement. Oh, okay, that was the House. They will find out quick that they are on the losing side between the U.S. and China. Highlights of strained relations. Trump administration denounced notorious ties to Russia. Trump suspended South African aid in March. Well, in November, he said he planned to stop all payments of subsidies to the country. House committee statement stemmed from Justice Department announcement January 15th about the test flying academy. Yep. This pilot school located in the town of Oudtshoorn was added to U.S. Commerce Department's export control list in 2023. Forfeiture action involved the interdiction of 2 mission crew trainers, which the company denies, but the U.S. Department of Justice says that's the case. South Africa's Department of National Relations and Cooperation said it noted the clarifications provided by TFSA. We are committed to constructive engagement with our U.S. counterparts to address any concerns and ensure a clear understanding of the facts through our diplomatic channels, said DIRCO's spokesman Crispin Peary. But this was seized 15 months ago, and the South African government has known about it all along. When they did the dog and pony show at the Oval Office, they knew that this had happened. So did Trump. Trump didn't embarrass. An ambush, that is the most comical thing ever. Cyril was ambushed. Really? Really? Give me a break. Every time I watch Chris's show, I'm reminded how screwed we are, says Steph. Okay. Anti-ICE protests, this new Black Panther group. Well, I think they're all insurgents and they need to be prosecuted. Suppose we're counting down the days until the next shutdown, or did they? Well, they've agreed on many of the bills, but there's still a few. And the Senate comes back like just a couple days before. So unless they've agreed to something and haven't shared it with us, it's likely that they might shut down. Now, the Democrats don't have to shut things down. That part of the government won't run. So it's not going to be a full shutdown because these bills have gone to the president. As long as he signs them, much of the government will be able to run. Just a little portion of it won't be running. So we probably won't have a full-scale shutdown. Yes, Tom Smith, you are very clever there. Is it a head fake to distract the Iranians? Yes, it may very well be a head fake to distract the Iranians by calling off the attack. Samantha Myberg, welcome to you. 6 bills to pass. I think that all but a few have passed. Thank you, U.S. Minion to be. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already. Yep. The school still runs as far as I know, yes. The company responded yesterday. Alberta could become the 51st state, but I don't think it's likely. Mercator projection is quite deceiving when you look at it. Yes, it is. Well, the Peters projection is much more accurate. But Greenland is still the largest island in the world. Double D says that I'm still a yellow cap in her eyes. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It wasn't my best weekend. Had a hard time with EPCR Champions and Challenge Cup are always a crapshoot. Ice Agents rooms again canceled by Hilton Brands. St. Paul Downtown Doubletree. Okay, well, St. Paul Downtown Doubletree. Okay, let's check that out. Okay. It's only on Facebook. Only on Facebook. The St. Paul Downtown Doubletree by Hilton is reportedly canceling reservations for Ice Age and temporarily closing its doors because of public safety concerns. So we don't know that this is real. Oh, well, it looks like it's real. It looks like they gave it to somebody. It looks like they gave it to someone. So let me pull that up for you guys. Okay, hang on. Yeah, they've covered up the room number. So this is what apparently they're talking about. Dear so-and-so, room blank, please know that your safety and well-being will always be our top priority. Due to heightened public safety concerns in St. Paul, we have made the difficult decision to temporarily close our hotel, and your reservation will be canceled effective Sunday, January 18th at 12 p.m. We are taking this step out of care for you, our team members, and the surrounding community. Due to your unexpected departure, our team can assist you with alternate accommodations. To support you during this difficult transition, as gesture goodwill, can either refund your last night's stay or pay your first night's stay at your new hotel at the same rate as your canceled reservation with us. Thank you for understanding during this challenging time. Warmest regards, St. Paul team. Well, I would demand my money back, and I'd also demand triple points from Hilton. This is unacceptable. Unacceptable what's going on. And this is because of Tim Waltz and Small Fry Jacob. Stolen Valor Timmy and Small Fry Jacob. Took a class still in China with his wife for their honeymoon. Yep. Yeah, I know. They are really serious weirdos. They are serious weirdos. Okay, what else we got here? Minus 20 degrees Celsius. That is pretty cold. Johan Peach, what's up? Yeah, well, it is. That's why it's good that you got somebody that's got experience evaluating bogus information and propaganda, which would be me. What time do you take the road tomorrow? Why are you asking, Corey? I'll be doing an early broadcast tomorrow morning for my news. Brandy Wells, thank you for being a platoon leader. Hey, Brandy, how's it going? Welcome. Thank you for becoming a platoon leader. Robin Island has produced more crooked millionaires than Greenland ever could. Yep. What time do you take the road? There's a lot of businesses that have closed while ICE is around temporarily. Yeah, Harlequins won that game, yep. So let's see what that means then let me go look at this. So EPCR. So the Bulls and the Stormers should have qualified now. Okay, pool tables. Here we go. All right, so the Sharks are out because the Sale Sharks decided to give away a game, losing 77-7. So Saracens gets in, Sale gets in. Stade Toulousain winds up in second place when they wouldn't have been there. Isn't that amazing? Sharks wind up with 10 points, and they're out of the competition. So then we move down to Pool 3, Pool 4. In Pool 4, you have the Bulls. I don't know why this isn't decided yet. All these games are over, aren't they? Scarlets have played 4 games. They got 3 points. So the Bulls should be qualified. I don't know why they're not listed as qualified here. But where are the Stormers? Stormers were in second place earlier, but because Leinster won, they dropped to third place, and Harlequins won as well. So the Stormers, Harlequins, and Leicester will also qualify, it looks like, because they had a point differential, +3 versus -13 for Stade Rochelet. La Rochelle came in last, so there you go. Springbok Women's Sevens were crowned champions in the inaugural Sevens tournament in Dubai. Wow, that's incredible. That's huge news. I didn't know that. I don't pay attention to Sevens anymore. We have the New York Sevens coming up in March. I'm contemplating going. It's in New Jersey, actually. I'm not really sure if I'm going to do it. No, there's no way I'm going to New York and back in one day. So, Corey, it's a 5-hour drive. It's 500 kilometers, and about 40% of it's on back roads. It's only 60% on highways. No. I'm not going up, coming back same day. In fact, I'm debating. I'm trying to figure out what I'll do Tuesday night. I'll probably leave late afternoon Tuesday and drive 60% of the way back so I can get back at a reasonable hour Wednesday, because I have Wednesday's show with Ronaldo. So. Because their clients will be put at risk and they don't want lawsuits over what happens to the clients. They'll get blamed for it. There's lots of reasons to close your business to provide security. Hilton is puppy crap. Stayed in Hilton Homewood Suites in Dallas for a week. To be fair, we went from there to the Omni Hotel. Okay, well, Rooster, the Omni is quite different. That's the Hilton Doubletree I've stayed in, Homewood Suites I've stayed in. I've stayed in every brand except Spark, and I'll do that tomorrow night. I'll be staying in a Spark. I did provide a Spark hotel location for the Stoltze family when they came up here to visit me. I remember I promised to take care of their accommodation. I did that night they were here, and I got them a Spark, which was nearby. I was going to get them the not Homewood Suites, the other one, Doubletree, but they said it was too much. They wanted something smaller, so I didn't. Now, the Hilton chain is pretty good. I have no problems with Hilton. The Hilton Garden Inns are usually nice. The Hamptons, I used to like them more, but I have a long history with the Hampton. Hampton hotels were started by the Promise Hotel Corporation out of Tennessee, and I became a Hilton member because of the Hamptons. I've been staying in Hamptons for a long time, and they were acquired by the Hilton chain. And then I became a Hilton Honors member 25 years ago because of that, roughly 25 years ago. And I've been a member ever since. Maybe it was even 27 years ago, whatever the case is, yeah. But they've become very, unfortunately, very stingy lately. It used to be a diamond member. You had to, thank you, Tinky Keiser, for the 70 Rand, making them clouds gather, man. So it used to be that they would, you had to stay 20 stays or 30 nights aggregate to be a diamond member. All right, so I typically wound up staying 30 nights over the course of a year. Sometimes it's 20 stays, but a lot of times I was there for a couple nights, the nights count. Whatever the case, I was able to maintain diamond status, which got you a free breakfast at all the hotel chains that have breakfasts, which is most of them. It's nice for a Hilton because you stay somewhere like Santon in the Hilton, breakfast is $45 US for breakfast, one person. You got a family of 4, you're screwed. You're talking about $180 for breakfast. That's insane. Absolutely insane. For something you can get back in a couple hours later on when you go to the restroom is stupid. Anyway, so I love that because I got good deals for meals and I get preferred prices and get bonuses on points and stuff like that. And I'm very loyal. But then coming out of COVID, after extending us because nobody was staying in hotels, so they let us carry over for like 2 years. And I had over 10 years of diamond status. The promise from Hilton before is you had 10 years of diamond status, you would be upgraded lifetime free diamond. That never happened, so I was angry about that. And the second thing is that they made it, you have to spend 60 nights a year now in order to be 40 stays and 60 nights in order to be a diamond member. Unless you're a business person, you can't pull that off. I'm not spending 40 nights a year in a Hilton hotel chain. It's insane. And thank you, Trixie. You're very welcome. Thank you for your membership. Once when I was talking to Mr. Abrams about Jesus, no idea what Candace is talking about. Well, anytime older, I've actually got someone that's helping cover some of that cost. The Texas trip, some of that's paid for by someone else. I appreciate that. And then this trip here, someone made a donation, same person actually, I think, and then that's going to help cover much of the cost. But it doesn't cover my 10 hours of time driving there and back. I still got to do that. I'll probably do a couple streams from the road. You know, you're confused by the stream title? Don't be. Like the video I did last night, which not many people are watching. So the government of South Africa and its media are fond of saying that Trump is targeting South Africa, that it's all Trump, that the United States is aggressive towards South Africa. It's not. It's not. As we discovered here in this broadcast and in my broadcast yesterday and the video I made, the Department of Justice has seized a cargo of illicitly shipped U.S. military technology to a third-party Chinese People Liberation Army by the Test Flying Academy of South Africa. That's the allegation by the Justice Department. The shipment was seized in Singapore, the consignment, by the U.S. government by presenting a warrant to Singapore authorities, and they did it in November of 2024. We knew this. Trump did not use this as a point to talk about South Africa. Trump did not embarrass Ramaphosa by saying, well, what about this? Hey, you know, the Justice Department had to seize this ship when Biden was president, working with the Singapore authorities. We had to seize the ship for shipping our technology. Why aren't you doing something about that? He could have embarrassed them. We keep seeing all the navel gazing and all this. Oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. The Americans are so mean, they're so mean, they're so mean to South Africa. We're not doing anything to South Africa. Nothing. That ship wasn't even, that shipment wasn't even seized by the Trump administration. It was seized by the Biden administration. So Trump didn't do it. The United States has done nothing against South Africa except say you're not welcome at the G20 summit after the way they behaved during the previous G20 summit as president. So that's what the purpose is. It's not about South Africa. It's about Greenland. Thank you, Loretta. Appreciate upgrading your membership. Trump has been incredibly lenient. He was very lenient in the White House. He noticed, so when these lying sacks of horse manure in the so-called media in South Africa talk about how it was an ambush, Mad Max, when it's an ambush, it's not an ambush, ladies and gentlemen. If it had been an ambush, then instead of showing a video of people who are not in the ANC, like Jacob Zuma, MK Party, like Joyce Malema, EFF Party, former ANC members, if it was an ambush, then Trump would have shown Cyril Ramaphosa on Bloomberg television. I don't know what Donald Trump knows about South Africa, but he could keep his America. We'll keep our South Africa. Could have shown that. Could have shown the clips of Cyril Ramaphosa and all the things he said insulting Trump over the past years. Could have shown the things that Mkabisi Jonas has written. Put that up on the screen. Could have shown the video of Ibrahim Rasool calling Donald Trump a white supremacist if it was an ambush. All of that could have been put on stage. Most of the world's never seen that. Most of the world doesn't know about that. Most of the world doesn't care about it. But Trump could have exposed Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC to the entire world. And look at how the Annika Larsen and the journalists in South Africa cover up for the ANC. Did Annika Larsen ever write a story mentioning that Cyril Ramaphosa said, have you met my white Minister of Agriculture? Did she ever write a story about that? Did she ever do a piece on that? I don't recall one. If she did, I'll be glad to give her credit, but I don't recall a single mention of that. As far as I know, I'm the only freaking journalist that's talked about how embarrassing it was and how racist it was to tell Trump, did you see my white Minister of Agriculture, Johnny Steenhuisen? Well, Jacques Vint, to your comment about what parties, it really doesn't matter. The National Party didn't have to give up. No one forced them to give up. The National Party created this crap in collusion with the Pan-African Congress, with the ANC, and with others. That's where your umbrage needs to be. That's where it needs to go. Yeah, Cyril was ambushed by his own stupidity. By the way, that was a meeting that Cyril asked for, and Trump rearranged the schedule and granted it, and then he shows up 42 minutes late. And then the media in South Africa say it was an ambush. It wasn't an ambush. There was no business. I did an interview, Garrett. What are you talking about? There was nothing. They maybe haven't posted yet. I don't know. I did an interview. I was interviewed by Chris this morning. Let's see if she sent me anything. Oh, it's up. Here it is. When did she send this to me? She sent it just before this broadcast. Why is it that this browser is not playing nice? What is the problem? Okay, it's playing now. Browser's acting kind of funky here. 50 minutes. There it is. It's up. It's really not something that gets much of his attention. He's much more obsessed with Greenland, you might have noticed this week.
Well, Iran, what is your take on those joint military exercises?
Well, it's evidence that the African National Congress, despite its public pronouncements, despite its claims that it's a neutral actor, that South Africa's foreign policy is not aligned with anyone, it's poppycock. It's absolute balderdash. It's always been balderdash. It was pretty obvious for anybody who was paying attention when South Africa joined 30 plus other countries in Africa. They refused to condemn Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine back in 2022. And they said, well, we're neutral. Yeah. So that's there. It's up. It must have just gone up. So the business interview is up. If you guys want to watch it when you're done here, you can bookmark it. Okay. That's the business interview I did this morning. Rama's face when he left the room. Yeah, did you see when he was interviewed by the press? He was shell shocked. It's only an ambush if you're absolutely blind, dumbass. President Trump spoke about all the things South African ANC has been doing. How can they not expect him to expose what they're doing? Exactly. That's the thing. Thank you very much for that, Napoleon. So, I mean, how is it an ambush, News 24? Daily Maverick. How is it an ambush? Did South African government not know that the government of the U.S. was concerned about these things? We had relayed those to them. Yeah, thank you, Renee. It was just published. Yep. Yes, Loretta, I've talked about him. Hey, Tusi, what's going on, man? It takes lower life forms a bit longer to assimilate. You need to at least have the intelligence of a toaster to have the capacity to feel fear. Minnesota doesn't have a military base per se, but multiple National Guard bases. Yeah, they're not. They're camps. We don't have bases for the National Guard. So Camp Humphreys, Camp Perry, these are camps. That's what they're called. Hey, Flush, what's going on? Which was this Daily Investor one here? Expropriate without compensation. South African cities plan to take a sudden new direction. What's this? That's news to me. Okay. Ekurhuleni municipalities backtracked on a landmark expropriation without compensation case where it wanted to take a property without paying for it. Oh, yeah, I know about the case. Yep. The 2019 expropriation of portion 406 of the farm Dryfontein in Boksburg has become a landmark test case for land reform. They issued a notice in February 2019, took legal possession of the land in April 2019. 33-hectare vacant lot, also known as Farm Dryfontein, belonged to Business Venture Investments. City planned to develop the township with 2,000 social housing. Owners argued the property is high market value and that they were in the process of applying for development rights. They pegged the value at $30 million, while some valuations put as high as $64 million. The court order mediation began in October 2025. Yep. So Sakalika slates the city of Ekurhuleni. Since September, the city has jeopardized mediation, continually refusing to pay compensation for its expropriation. It's now trying to block the matter, going to trial without additional protracted lawfare. Yep. So there you go. What countries helped me? I already got that, so I was there already. Okay. No, don't worry about the terminology. It's just important. Words matter. Bases are active forces, and camps are. But we also have some camps as well. We have in Korea Camp Humphreys. That's not a base. So but in the U.S., generally speaking, if it's a camp, it is a National Guard location. Does that make sense? Right. They thought they were getting away with it, Vanessa, and someone called them out on it. They were surprised. There was no notification of refugee interview. Yeah, that's with a colored family, Anton Muller. Got a colored family coming on. Yep. In 30 minutes. Yep. Joe Niemann in the house. Hey, man. Good evening from Paradise. Okay. He must be in the Drakensberg. History shows the government's often been overthrown by other governments by bribing officials using sanctions. Yep. Well, yeah, Debbie, but again, it's not hard and fast, but generally speaking. The camps were what we established in World War I. They were temporary, and a lot of them became bases. Camp Meade became Fort Meade. Yep. So, National Guard, they're not bases as such. So we have Fort McCoy in Wisconsin, which is an active duty base, but there's almost no active duty troops there. All right, we'll see you for the interview 1440. All right, how are we doing over here? What are we doing on likes, folks? We got almost 3,000 people tuned in. 431 likes. There's 534 people still here. Got a little bit of super chat revenue. Thank you all for that. Yeah, thank you all so much. Steve Eisen moved the DA so far away from their voters with promises broken and now totally ancestry pocket. All good over here. Just been to see my granddaughter give her birthday presents. That's awesome. Happy birthday to your granddaughter. Candace is saying the same thing again. I have no idea what that's all about. Loretta is very excited about the next refugee interview. I think a lot of people are. So we'll see how big the audience is. People tune in for it because I didn't build a big fanfare up to it because I couldn't find the contact of the gentleman. I was having a hard time. I was so busy this week, and I finally came across again this morning. I said, "Are you still up for it?" He goes, "Yep, I'm up for it." Cool beans. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, okay, I have my dose of truth. Now I need my antidepressant. All right, so you need your antidepressant now. That's funny. 442 likes. Come on, boys. Hit the like button. Come on.
That was easy.
You're driving me to Frappuccinos. OG visiting me. He was with you since 24. Started watching you. Mad Max. 2024 doesn't count as an OG. The OGs are from 2020. Maybe 2021. We'll let them stay. The OGs were on my original channel. 2024, I appreciate being a long-time viewer, but that's not an OG. Janine, it's your birthday. Okay, just said that. Jim told me that the sponsor foot and mouth fences, that locals cut the wire. Wow, that's crazy. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. Yep, no, there's a lot of stuff going on to undermine everything, and it's just stupid people. Hey, Brandy Wells says target practice on the like button. There you go, Brandy. Tell him. That's. By the way, folks, Brandy will be at the meet and greet along with John B. Wells, the Lexington man. The Lexington man. That's right, folks. Get yourself a Lexington. For those you don't know, I'm going to embarrass Brandy a little bit right now. I think she was a shark girl back in the day. There's no accounting for rugby taste there. Brandy, I think, was a shark girl back in the day. So, yeah. Anyway, what was I just doing there? I was going to do something very quick. Oh, yeah. So, Brandy and John B. Wells will be there. Lily will be coming as well. I haven't got a confirmation whether Professor G is coming or not, but it's shaping it up to be quite the event. That'll come on the heels of me having traveled to Rochester, New York to talk to refugees. Do I follow ad hoc committee? Which ad hoc committee, Tusi? You talking about some sort of social media site? Yep. Somebody says shame, Brandy. Yeah, but Brandy and John will be there, and Lily and I'll be there. We're going to have a musician apparently who's offered to come perform. So we're working that out. Got a sound system. We're looking at live broadcasting the stream. It should be epic. Looking for a lot of fun. Once again, folks, with these meet and greets, I tell people if 2 people show up, I'm fine. 1 person shows up. If 50 show up, that's fantastic. If 100 show up, that's amazing. Anything beyond that, just gravy and crazy. So, yep. Anyway, that's what I was looking for, the birthday cake before we leave. So, birthday cake. It's her birthday. So, it's your birthday. It's your birthday. There you go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Janine. Happy birthday. All right. With the much larger audience that we have now, it's almost every day we have birthday. It used to be we only did that cake occasionally, but now we have large audiences, and today we're over 500 at the moment. Maybe it's the best year ever. Happy birthday. Yeah, to everybody. Hope it's their best year. Everything is big in Texas, including meet and greets. And by the way, Hendo said he got called out in London for speaking, and someone called him out in Afrikaans. yeah, because I told you people understand what you're saying. Sharks were the team in the 90s, early 2000s. Just because they have fallen on hard times isn't a reason to drop them. No, I'm with you, Neff. I was an Orioles supporter my entire life for baseball, even though they sucked for so many years, and I was a Colts fan. No, I don't change my teams just because they're bad. Your dad didn't make it to 50, but he would have been 90 today. Wow, Freya. So happy birthday. All right, well, we're going to have to wrap it up here, folks, so I can take a second, stretch my legs. At the top of the hour, we've got another refugee coming on. This refugee family that's located in South Dakota, and we haven't hit 500 likes. Come on, guys. We haven't hit 500 likes. What's up with that? What's up with that? You're gonna give me...
That was easy.
Chest pains. Make me take an inhaler here. Come on. You just guys gonna make... That doesn't make that noise. I just did that. Here, give me chest pains here. Hit the like button. Well, good luck to the Cheetahs. I hope they win, but that's not going to happen. They're not going anywhere. Yesterday was Break Your Resolutions Day. I don't make resolutions. I think it's a silly process, but people do it. Still not at 500 likes. All right, come on. 486, we're so close there. Come on, can I? 46, can I? 47, 48, 49, 500. Can we get 500? 500. One here, left foot once, going no, over here on the right hand side. Yes, young lady with the Stetson. Yes, 45, 45, 45, 90, 45, 490 likes. Can we get 495 over here? The young Myron looking fellow there. What's with you, Poindexter? Are you bidding? Are you bidding? Put your paddle down. Are you bidding? 495. 495 likes. Can we get 500? When you get 500 in the center here, can we get to 500? Somebody give me 500 likes. Can we get 500 likes before we close out this beautiful, excellent broadcast? It's the best. It's the biggest broadcast ever, endorsed by none other than Donald Trump himself. Can we get 500 likes here? Can we get 500? Can we get 500? Can we get 35? And we hit 500 likes. There you go. Thank you very much. Sold for 500 likes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back at the top of the hour with a broadcast with a family from South Dakota. All right? Refugees who've arrived in South Dakota. All right? All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Good to see Brittany. Thank you for your membership. And for everybody, here we go. We'll see you shortly right back here on the same bat channel. Not at the same bat time. That will be tomorrow. But tomorrow we won't be on the same bat time. Tomorrow's news broadcast will be early because I'm driving to Rochester, New York for 5 hours. Feel bad for me. Jakes, thank you for the 14 Rand super sticker. Clouds are gathering. Tata, are you looking, Tata? The clouds are gathering. All right, guys. See you shortly. Yeah, I have a gavel right here. Where's it at? Where's my gavel? Did I move it? There it is. There you go. There you go. There you go. We got the 500. Sold. All right. That'll do it, folks. See you shortly. Cheers.